All right, let's now shift our attention to the other big story. Now, this also involves the United States of America, where tensions continue to brew between the United States of America and Venezuela. Donald Trump, interestingly, has now announced a new military operation on Venezuelan soil. Remember, Donald Trump had come and said that he'll end all wars, but he's now talking of a new military operation on Venezuelan soil. Now, Trump has announced a new wave of operations against what the administration claims are drug traffickers flooding the United States with narcotics. Now, the announcement has come after weeks of U.S. airstrikes on vessels which Washington claims were drug traffickers.
But we're going to take care of that situation. We're already doing a lot. We've almost stopped. It's about 85% stopped by sea. You probably noticed that. People aren't wanting to be delivering by sea. And we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warn them, stop sending poison to our country.
Now, just hours before Trump's announcement, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro had issued a televised address. The speech marks 105 years of Venezuela's military aviation. In his remarks, Maduro said that Venezuelans are prepared to defend their homeland.
For 17 weeks, foreign and imperialist forces have been continuously threatening to disrupt the peace of the Caribbean Sea, South America, and Venezuela, under false and extravagant arguments that no one believes, neither in U.S. public opinion nor in world public opinion, and even less so in the powerful Venezuelan public opinion.
Just last week, the Trump administration has designated Maduro and his allies of his government as the Cartel de los Sols, a foreign terror organization. Now, the move follows Washington's accusation against Maduro, claiming that the Venezuelan president has ties to drug cartels. The designation paves the way for sanctions on Maduro, and many fear the use of escalated military force, which now appears to be coming true following Donald Trump's statement. Now, the Americans, remember, have also put a $50 million bounty on the head of the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro. The American troops have been carrying out repeated strikes, at least 21 of them, on what the Americans claim are boats involved in drug trafficking in the Caribbean and the Pacific since September. And these strikes have killed a total of at least about 83 people. All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got Mr. Diego Sequeira, who's a political analyst, a journalist and a columnist, and he's joining us live on this broadcast all the way from Caracas in Venezuela. Mr. Sequeira, the American president has announced this new operation where he says will be carried out on Venezuelan soil. These are ground operations that he's talking about. Give us a sense of what the mood is like, because this effectively means that there could be some kind of a military operation on Venezuelan soil to clamp down on drug trafficking. How does Venezuela see this?
Well, on one level, if you ask me one more time, I work in a very bustling and crowded area of Caracas, and it's like nothing is actually happening. Everyone is about their own business. But it seems to me that it also has a lot to do with the psychological shaping of the atmosphere. Each and every of these attempts rely heavily on what happens inside Venezuela, and I guess naming this possibility of these ground operations also puts up a higher, raises the volume, raises the heat on the idea of bring about this change. Now, regarding the possibilities, the on-the-ground possibilities of ground operations, nothing seems too clear, actually, especially if you see the buildup, there's not enough military assets, as in ground troops, in order to do this. So I think we're still within the thin line between psychological pressure and actual reality in order to provoke some sort of reaction.
All right, now the Americans have imposed a $50 million bounty on Nicolas Maduro's head. He's effectively been called someone who's the leader of drug trafficking into the United States of America. The Americans have not given any proof that the boats that they've been bombing in the Caribbean and in the Pacific are involved in drug trafficking. But how is Nicolas Maduro approaching this? Because this looks like an impending war that Maduro may have to fight whether he wants it or not.
This is already a regime change operation. Is it going to turn into a regime change war by itself? We're about to see. I mean, it's hard to predict already. This ramp up has been going on for 3 months, and this, beyond the extrajudicial killings of unknown, unclear fishermen or people from the sea, there's no actual proof of what they're saying. This is, of course, because the truth doesn't matter, basically. This is just the reason for set up a viable narrative that not only sells the idea, but also it allows procedurally to address this not as a war between two states, but as a security situation addressing a non-state actor, a narco state, if you will. That's the way they're defining this. So that's actually, it has all to do with their own legal framework and with Congress in order to define the situation. So it is, once you realize this has nothing to do with drugs and all the data actually counters these notions, it is all about regime change, and beyond that, it's about regional change.
Interesting. We'll have to see as to how things unfold. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Sequeira, for joining us from Caracas and getting us that perspective there.
Thank you very much.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.